Hello and welcome to my Let's Play of Eldfall Chronicles. You can see here my table prepared for the first quest of the Heart of Obsidian campaign. For this I'll be playing the Sand Kingdom faction, and here you can see the party I'll be playing for this campaign. Starting at the left we have an Academy Expeditioner with the Elemental Lineage Fire upgrade, just so that he has more variety of his spells. Right here in the middle you see the Ferris Outrider, and he also has the Elemental Lineage upgrade, also with the Fire Affinity, just to give him a little bit more enchantment option for himself especially. And here at the right you have the supposedly leader of the group and the one who started this whole expedition, the Task Mage. I think she's called the Task Mage Explorer, and she has the First Aid upgrade and also the Pouch upgrade to increase her inventory slots by 2. For this mission, the task is for the party to investigate these 4 building ruins in order to find an underground passage that should lead to an artifact. And the party's task for this quest is to secure this artifact. And for this, the Explorer Task Mage, the lady, has gotten a special device to secure the artifact. The ruined settlement here is guarded by an Earth Elemental and 2 Gargoyles at the moment, or at the beginning of the game. And one special rule is that each of the building, every time one of the models enter it, a dice is rolled, and depending on the result, they could find possibly the hidden passage, or another creature could spawn, which could range from another gargoyle up to even a golem. And the Earth Elemental will not spawn, but it will be sufficient enough that one Earth Elemental is already at the center of the board at the beginning of the game. Just for your information, I already played this quest a few times to record it and to sort out any technical difficulties. So just that you know, I think I have now found a strategy with this party to reliably win the scenario and find the underground passage. So without further ado, let's get into the first activation round after I deployed the party in their deployment zone. So, as you can see here, I deployed the party at the bottom right corner. I placed the party in that way that the gargoyle has no line of sight towards the party, which will be important for later when the party starts activating. Therefore, the gargoyles and the Earth Elemental are unable to react because they cannot see the responsible model. I also went ahead and for the strategy phase I decided that the Ferris Outrider will use his Artificial Claws to cast the Arcane Shield spell at himself, which increases his armor value by 4 and makes him immune to critical hits. And that being said, for the first round I'll go ahead and start with the Arcane Expeditioner, who will be using his move action, just let me grab a gouge, to move up 5 inches closer towards the ruin, and also so that he can now see the gargoyle. That was a little bit too far. I just wanted him to be able to see the gargoyle up there. And now I will grab a second measure tape and just double checking if he's within 16 inches. These are 12, and this will be not enough, so he will continue to move a little bit further. He just moved 3 inches, so therefore he has 2 inches left. Moves up to next to the corner of the building, just checking again, and this time he's within 16 inches of the gargoyle. And now he will try to use his action to attack the gargoyle using his Soul Crush spell. Looking at the gargoyle's reactive hostile card, when the gargoyle is the target of an attack, line of sight, and outside of the ranges, it will just dodge and move towards the attacker. Therefore, we will see. Starting with the attack of the Academy Expeditioner, he needs to roll a 14 or less to hit the gargoyle because of his intelligence value. The die is a roll as a 2, therefore he hits. Now the gargoyle tries to dodge the attack. Looking at its stat card, it has an agility of 8, right here. Therefore it needs an 8 or less to avoid the attack, otherwise it will be hit. With a natural 1, it manages to avoid the attack, and as it used the dodge action, it will be able to move 2.5 inches closer towards the Task Mage Explorer, but it also spent one of its activation points. Not very successful with this attempt. The Academy Expeditioner activates right again, and he tries to repeat it. Therefore, once more, he uses the Soul Crush spell to attack the gargoyle, which now was so friendly to come closer. Therefore, definitely within range of 16 inches. And now the Academy Expeditioner once again needs a 14 or less to hit. With a roll of 9, he's able to hit the gargoyle. Once again, the gargoyle needs an 8 or less to dodge the action. With a 15, this time the gargoyle is unable to dodge the Soul Crush, but it also spent its activation point in its reactive roll. Excuse me. And now the power of the Soul Crush spell is equal to the caster's intelligence, which is 14, similar to the hit roll. And normally, from this power, we would reduce the gargoyle's armor value of 5, which you can see here. But the Soul Crush spell has the trait of Ignore Armor, therefore it will be not reduced. And the Academy Expeditioner needs a 14 or less to wound the gargoyle, and with a roll of 11 he successfully managed to wound the gargoyle. Just let me grab a wound token. So the gargoyle loses 1 hit point. Looking at the hostile card of the gargoyle, we can see at the left hand side its HP value is 1, which is reduced to 0. Flipping the card over, we can also see that it has the construct trait. And the last sentence is, if the model's HP reaches 0, it is removed from the field. Therefore, the gargoyle is not only incapacitated, but it is outright destroyed. So, why did I do that? As I said before, I already played this game a few times to sort out any technical difficulties. And in my experience, it is the best way to play this special quest to eliminate the starting threats that are in the center of the board before you start exploring the ruins. And this will be my main strategy. And as you saw, now the hostiles have one model less, therefore fewer activations, which makes it all in all quite easy for the party to explore the buildings in peace and not be overwhelmed, especially as you will see during this Let's Play. The Earth Elemental is a real tank. As you can see here at the right hand side, it has, if I can get it in focus, here you are, it has an armor of 10 and 4 HP. Additionally to this, the Earth Elemental has the skill Regeneration. Therefore, at the start of each turn in its strategy phase, it will regain 1 hit point, which made it really a tough cookie to crack. And yeah, as you get the first impression, I will continue with the turn of the party and catch you later. At the end of the party's first turn, as you can see, the Ferris Outrider as well as the Task Mage Explorer, they only spend 1 activation point to move. Since their activation started behind this wall, the remaining Gargoyle and Earth Elemental did not react to it initially, But since the Ferris Outrider moved in such a position that he can see and can be seen by the Earth Elemental and the Gargoyle, both of these start to react. Looking at their hostile cards, the Gargoyle, we can see, will only react if it's a target of an attack, target of a melee attack, or target of an attack again. Therefore, since it is not attacked, it will not react. And looking at the Elemental's reactive card, we can see it is not engaged. That's true. There's more than one enemy within awareness. Its awareness value is equal to its agility of 6, therefore that's not true. It is a target of a melee attack outside of 1 inch. It is not. It is a target of a melee attack and within 1 inch, and this is also not true, but line of sight and within 16 inches. So, let's have a look. I shouldn't push the Ferris Outrider out of position. As we can see here, it is roughly 9 inches. Therefore, the Ferris Outrider is within 16 inches. And in this case, since the Earth Elemental also has line of sight, it will use the hurl action to perform a range attack. Looking at the hurl action at the back of the Earth Elemental's card, we can see it has a strike of 1 range attack with a reach distance and power equal to its toughness of 16. And it will use an area of effect with a circular small and the stagger trait. And if the Ferris Outrider would be within 8 inches, because that's half the reach, it would also get a +4 accuracy for the attack. But since the Ferris Outrider is outside of 8 inches, because he's within 9 inches as we have seen before, the Earth Elemental will make an attack roll, and its accuracy is 10. Therefore, it spends 1 of its activation points, and it needs a 10 or less to hit him. And with a 17, it rolls above the 10, therefore missing. So, excuse me again. And now, the Taskmaster Explorer as well as the Ferris Outrider could spend their remaining activation points. But why did I position them this way? I did this because the Gargoyle, as you can see here, will move towards the lowest hit point enemy model, which would be the Taskmaster Explorer with only 1 hit point. The other 2 have 2 hit points each. And the Earth Elemental, looking at its active card, it will move only if it has no line of sight, or if it is within line of sight and 5 inches of a hostile creature or opponent. Therefore, it will most likely, since it has line of sight towards the Ferris Outrider, it will stay idle and repeat its hurl attack. From where the Ferris Outrider only the Ferris Outrider, because the Academy Expeditioner as well as the Explorer Task Mage, looking here at the board, cannot see the Earth Elemental. Therefore, this ends the first turn of our party, and I will catch you with the first turn of the hostiles. With the first turn of the hostiles prepared, you might notice that the Earth Elemental has only 2 activation tokens in its active role, while it had previously 4 activation tokens in its reactive role. This is because, when we are looking once more at the Earth Elemental's stat card, we can see that the Earth Elemental has a trait that is called Watchful, which doubles its activation tokens in its reactive role. So, as I said previously, the Earth Elemental will stay idle and use its action actually to attack the Ferris Outrider, because it can see it, and once more it will attack him with its hurl action. Now the Ferris Outrider does not want to get hit, therefore he spends an activation token in his reactive role and tries a dodge action. So, beginning with the Earth Elemental, it will need a 10 or less to hit the Ferris Outrider. With a roll of 16, it will miss him anyway, therefore I will just skip his attempt to dodge. And since he used the dodge action, he's able to move. I will just move him a little bit closer, not too close, to stay still outside of the 8 inches of the Earth Elemental to not give it a bonus to its accuracy. And now he's, 9.5, around 10 inches away. Therefore, the Earth Elemental will still attack him, but will not receive the +4 accuracy bonus. That done. We just repeat that because I will continue with the Earth Elemental, spending an activation token to attack the Ferrous Outrider, and the Ferrous Outrider will react using the dodge action. So, the Earth Elemental needs a 10 or less to hit him, and this time with a roll of 7, it will actually hit the Ferrous Outrider, who, let me just have a look at his profile, and the Ferrous Outrider has an agility of 12, therefore he needs a 12 or less to dodge the Earth Elemental's hit. He rolls a 15, therefore the Earth Elemental will hit him, which, as we saw previously, will have the small circular template. No other model will be hit, but, excuse me for the coughing, still recovering from sickness. The Earth Elemental's strength is equal to its toughness, and as we saw, it has a toughness of 16, but the Ferrous Outrider's armor will be reduced. Normally it's 1, but since he has cast the Arcane Shield spell at him, he has a current armor of 5. Therefore the Earth Elemental needs 11 or less to wound the Ferrous Outrider, and with a roll of 12 it's just enough to not wound him. Therefore he barely managed to escape the hurled rock of the Earth Elemental and stays at his 2 hit points. Lucky Outrider. Next, the Gargoyle will activate, and as I said earlier, with the Gargoyle's activation, it will has the target priority of lowest HP, which will be our Taskmage Explorer here at the back. And if it is not engaged, it has no line of sight within 5 inches, but it has line of sight and it runs towards it. And since the Ferrous Outrider is the only model the Gargoyle is currently able to see, it will target the Ferrous Outrider with its first activation, which will be the run action towards the Ferrous Outrider. And looking at the Gargoyle's hostile card, we can see it has a speed of 5. Therefore it will move 10 inches towards the Ferrous Outrider, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and will be just within 1 inch of the Ferrous Outrider. And since the Ferrous Outrider has a sword as his main weapon, and the sword has a reach of 1 inch, the Gargoyle is within the Ferrous Outrider's reach and will receive the Engage token. Before I put the token at the Gargoyle, as you can see, I have grabbed 2, because with its next activation, it is within line of sight and within 5 inches. It walks into base contact, and as its action, it will make an attack against the creature. Therefore, we can look forward to use the Gargoyle's Claw. So, spending its next activation, it is already engaged, but since this time the Gargoyle is visible to the Academy Expeditioner this way around, and the Taskmage Explorer, both of these will react, and the Expeditioner will attack the Gargoyle with his Soul Crush spell, while the Taskmage will cast the Redirect Damage spell as an assist at the Ferrous Outrider. I'll start with the Academy Expeditioner. Once again, Soul Crush needs a 14 or less to hit the Gargoyle. With a roll of 11, it will hit. And with the Ignore Armor property, it will also once again needs a 14 or less to wound the Gargoyle. With a roll 9, the Gargoyle is wounded once more, and since it is a construct, will be removed from the field. Normally, if the Gargoyle would have been already in base contact with the Ferrous Outrider, there would be the friendly fire rule in effect, but since it is still 1 inch away, as I measured previously, the rule will not be in effect, and the Academy Expeditioner managed to destroy the Gargoyle before it reached its party member of the Ferrous Outrider. So, with this, I will just roll once for the Task Mage Explorer to cast the... what was it called again? The Redirect Damage spell at the Pharaoh's Outrider. With a roll of 19, it is absolutely above the intelligence of the Task Mage Explorer, which would be 14. But it is not relevant in this instant anymore because the Gargoyle is already destroyed. The hostiles in form of the remaining Earth Elemental have no activations left. Therefore, that was the first round of the hostiles, and I will catch you when I prepare the party's second turn. The next turn of the party begins in its strategic phase with the Pharaoh's Outrider casting the fire enchantment Melting Touch onto himself, therefore, as you can see, igniting his blade. This gives him the traits Ignore Armor as well as Burn 1, which means that he not only will ignore immediately the armor of 10 of the Earth Elemental, but also if he wounds the Earth Elemental successfully, he has an additional auto hit with his power of 13, and the Earth Elemental will have an armor value of 0 for this special hit, which enables the Pharaoh's Outrider potentially to deal 2 points of damage towards the Earth Elemental. But as you can see, in the upkeep phase, I've already allocated the activation points, and the Task Mage Explorer will start by casting the Redirect Damage spell at the Academy Expeditioner, because the Redirect Damage spell not only reflects close combat damage, but also range damage. With an intelligence score of 14, she needs to roll this or less. She rolls 17, but since the Task Mage Explorer has the Wizard class, she can reroll up to 1 failed roll of the Elder element. And since the Redirect Damage spell is of the Elder element, she will use her class ability, rerolls, and with a 12, she successfully casts the Redirect Damage spell. Let me just put a token next to the Academy Expeditioner. So, and with this, and the Earth Elemental was unable to react because it is still unable to see the Task Mage. But with her activation done, the Academy Expeditioner will activate next, and he will move right around the corner so that he's able to see the Earth Elemental and is in touch with the terrain. Let me just check, because he intends to still be outside of the 8 inches, therefore 9 inches, far enough for the Earth Elemental to not get any bonus on its hull action, because this will be the reaction of the Earth Elemental against the Academy Expeditionary's attack with the Soul Crush spell. And now we are in a situation, since the Academy Expeditioner attacks the Earth Elemental and the Earth Elemental reaction is also an attack with its hull action, we come into a confrontation. And this is done in the way that the Academy Expeditioner needs his offensive stat, or in this case intelligence stat, since it's casting a spell. With a 3, he manages to successfully cast the spell, but the Earth Elemental will hurl with its accuracy of 10, and it sets the lower bar. And the Academy Expeditionary, he needs to roll above the Earth Elemental's roll, if successful, and below his intelligence. So, with a roll 3, the Earth Elemental also manages to succeed at its attack. And now give me a moment to read up if the Earth Elemental wins this confrontation, or if the Academy Expeditionary had barely just managed to succeed, because I do not know out of the head in this instance if the Earth Elemental succeed or if the Academy Expeditioner. So I'll catch you up later. So, after reading up in the rules book, I am still unsure about it. I'm unsure about it because in the rule book it says confrontation rolls are considered successful if each roll's result is equal or lower than the model's unused modified attribute and higher than the animal model's successful rolls. Each successful confrontation roll negates all enemy models rolled with equal or lower results. The model with one or more successful confrontation rolls wins the confrontation. But since both of these two succeeded and the roll is equal, they would negate each other. That's my understanding currently. And therefore I decide to just reroll both attacks. And you can write down your thoughts on this edge case down in the comments. I would be really interested in how you would have ruled this situation. But since this is a solo game, I will decide it will be more fun if I just reroll both attacks. So, once again, the Academy Expeditioner needs a 14 or less. He rolls this time an 11, and the Earth Elemental needs a 10 or less, and with a 13 it fails. Therefore, the Academy Expeditioner managed to cast successfully his Soul Crush spell at the Earth Elemental. With the Ignore Armor property, he once again needs a 14 or less. With an 11, he managed to successfully dodge the Earth Elemental, which will receive a wound token. And the Soul Crush spell also has two other abilities with it that come with it. And the first of these two is that if wounded, the target becomes panicked until caster's next end phase. Normally, the Earth Elemental would have to make a moral test to see every time it reacts to see if it can perform its activation or even if it's activated. But looking at the Earth Elemental stat card, especially at its moral, we can see the moral is 20. And since it's a D20 roll, it will always succeed at its moral check. So therefore, I will just ignore this secondary effect. But the other effect of the Soul Crush spell is stun. And stun forces the Earth Elemental to make a toughness check with its toughness of 16. And if the check is failed, it will lose all of its remaining activation tokens for this turn. So here it goes. And with a 16, the Earth Elemental just barely manages to keep all of its activation tokens. So, since the Academy Expeditioners was not hit by the Earth Elemental, he still has the redirect damage spell from the Taskmage Explorer. And feeling safe at his distance, he will just repeat this action, attacking the Earth Elemental again. And the Earth Elemental will also react by attacking the Academy Expeditioner once more. 14 or less for the Academy Expeditioner. He failed his roll. But since he's a sorcerer, which is similar to the wizard of the Taskmage Explorer, he is able to, in his active roll, reroll up to one failed roll with the sorcery type. And since the Academy Expeditioner only has sorcerer spells, he will reroll the 20 into a 9, which means that he would usually hit the Earth Elemental. But since this is a confrontation roll, the Earth Elemental also rolls a 9. And similar to previously, I will just reroll both die results. So the Academy Expeditioner has an 11, hitting the Earth Elemental. And the Earth Elemental rolls a 6. Therefore, since the Academy Expeditioner rolled higher and still below his offense stat, intelligence of 14, he wins this confrontation. Therefore, the Earth Elemental misses his rock, and the Academy Expeditioner gets a chance to wound the Earth Elemental again. And this time with a 19, he didn't manage to do so. Therefore, the Earth Elemental stays at 1 wound, currently still with 3 hit points remaining. Now, the Taskmage Explorer will move a little bit closer, still staying out of sight, and just spending its activation token, and she will cast redirect damage at the Pharaoh's Outrider before he activates. With a roll of 12, she successfully cast the spell, and I will just put a token as a reminder next to the Pharaoh's Outrider. Now, the Pharaoh's Outrider will activate, and since he is not able to get within 6 inches to attack the Earth Elemental with his Melting Touch, he will use his activation to run towards the Earth Elemental, and with 10 inches he will get into base contact with the Earth Elemental if he wants to, but before he moves, the Earth Elemental, once more, reacts and uses the Hurl action. So, it needs 10 or less because the Pharaoh's Outrider is still outside of 8 inches. With a roll of 20, the Earth Elemental will just miss the Pharaoh's Outrider, and the Pharaoh's Outrider will try to stay 1 inch away from the Earth Elemental, therefore within his melee reach, but not within base-to-base contact, so that the friendly fire rule will not be activated when the Pharaoh's Outrider will not interfere with the attack action of the Academic Expeditioner and the Taskmage Explorer. But since the Earthen Fists of the Earth Elemental also have a reach of 1, which is equal to the reach of the Pharaoh's Outrider, both of them will get the engaged state. So, now, with both sides only having 1 activation left, or activation point left, the Pharaoh's Outrider will attack the Earth Elemental, and the Earth Elemental will declare an attack action against the Pharaoh's Outrider. So, usually, the Earth Elemental would have a strike value of 2, therefore it would roll 2 dice, but since it is in its reactive roll, it only has 1 die. That's the special situation if you're in your reactive roll. The Sword of the Pharaoh's Outrider has a strike value of stamina, and the Pharaoh's Outrider stamina is 2, therefore he rolls 2 dice for this confrontation, and it's definitely not good. Let me just check. He has an offense value of 14, so he would have needed a 14 or less, but with a 20 and an 18 he missed by far. And the Earth Elemental wins the confrontation with a roll of 20, because it uses, as it is reactive, its defense value of 14. Therefore, the Earthen Fists hit the Pharaoh's Outrider. So, with this, it has a power equal to its toughness of 16. And since the Pharaoh's Outrider casted Melting Touch, it has not arcane armor, but luckily, the Taskmage Explorer, looking forward, just cast redirect damage. Therefore, the 1 hit of the Earth Elemental is redirected, and it hits itself, since it was not a natural 1, which would have been a critical hit. So, the Earth Elemental hits itself with its toughness of 16, reduced by its armor of 10. Therefore, a roll of 6 or less will cause the Earth Elemental to wound itself. Again, with a natural 20, this will not happen. So, let me just refresh the board, allocate activation points, and I will catch you in the second round of the Hostiles. The second phase of the Hostile starts with its strategic phase before the upkeep phase allocates the activation points, and in its strategic phase it will use its regeneration ability to heal the 1 damage received earlier. So, now in its active row, the Earth Elemental is engaged. It will use its sword action to move into base contact, before it will use its enemy within 1 inch and attack with its Earthen Fists as previously, but this time with 2 strikes. So, the Earth Elemental activates. Now, I just checked it, and the Taskmage Explorer is able to see the Pharaoh's Outrider, but not the Earth Elemental. Therefore, she cannot activate. But the Academic Expeditioner also sees the Earth Elemental, and therefore is also able to activate, or in this case react, as is the Pharaoh's Outrider. And both of these will say that they will attack, starting with the Academic Expeditioner. He will once again use his Soul Crush spell. With a 15, he is above his intelligence of 14, therefore he misses the Earth Elemental. And now the Earth Elemental just moves into base contact with the Pharaoh's Outrider and will attack. This time the Earth Elemental has 2 attacks. It needs a 12 or less to hit the Pharaoh's Outrider. 11 and 10 both will hit, and the Pharaoh's Outrider has a defense value of 11. With a 9 he managed to succeed, but both of the rolls of the Earth Elemental are above the one of the Pharaoh's Outrider. Therefore, the Pharaoh's Outrider loses the confrontation, and both hits of the Earth Elemental will go through. Undefended, he has only an armor value of 1, So the toughness, the power equal to its toughness of 16 will be reduced by 1. 15 or less, and the Pharaoh's Outrider will receive 1 point of damage. With a 7 and an 18, the Pharaoh's Outrider gets 1 point of damage. He has 2 wounds, therefore he is still conscious, but it does not look good. So, excuse me, the next activation of the Earth Elemental, it will once more attack the Pharaoh's Outrider. And the Pharaoh's Outrider has an agility of 12 and a defense of 11. Therefore, this time the Pharaoh's Outrider, also to remove the engaged state for the next activation sequence, he will use a dodge action. The Academy Expeditioner could react also to the Earth Elemental, but since he does not want to risk to hit his teammate, he could use his telekinetic knockback in an attempt to cast with the large blast, and would partially hit the Earth Elemental and would be able to miss the Pharaoh's Outrider. But since that has basically no effect, if I remember the telekinetic blast, let me just look it up. The telekinetic blast has an intelligence of has a power of intelligence -3, therefore 11, therefore you would need a natural 1. And it has the large spray. Yeah, you know, he has nothing to lose. The knockback and knockdown effect will be ignored because the Earth Elemental is too large. It is twice or more sizes larger than the Academy Expeditionary, but he has nothing to lose, so he will try to cast Telekinetic Blast, starting with a 14 or less to hit. With a 12, he managed to do so successfully, and now he needs a natural 1 to wound the Earth Elemental, and a 10, as expected. But now, the Pharaoh's Outrider in its melee combat with the Earth Elemental. I'll start with the dodge action of the Pharaoh's Outrider, because if he rolls 12 or less, he will dodge all attacks of the Earth Elemental except criticals. With a 2, he succeeded his dodge. Let's see if one of the 2 attacks of the Earth Element, or maybe both, are natural critical hits with a natural 1. With a 4 and a 12, neither of them are a critical hit. Therefore, the Pharaoh's Outrider managed to dodge the attack of the Earth Elemental and is also able to move 2.5 inches. And he will use this 1, 2, 2.5 to cancel the engaged state with the Earth Elemental. So, looking at the board after the second turn of the Earth Elemental, you can see the Pharaoh's Outrider is wounded, the gargoyles are missing, and the Earth Elemental is a tough cookie to crack, as mentioned earlier. And now I will catch you up when I refresh the board with activation points, and we go into the third round of the party. For the third turn, I really thought about what the Pharaoh's Outrider would be casting on himself using his artificial class. And I still think he will go onto the offense, and he once again casts the Molten Touch spell onto himself, giving him Ignore Armor and Burn 1. But this turn starts with the Task Mage Explorer. She will activate, stays where she is for the moment, and she will try to cast Redirect Damage at the Academy Expeditioner, just as a safety measure. With a 20, she did not succeed, needing a 14 or less. She uses her Wizard class ability, rerolling, and this time with a 12, she manages to cast the spell. Therefore, the Academy Expeditioner is able to be a little bit more protected. Sorry for the stuttering. So the Academy Expeditioner is a bit more protected against the reactions of the Earth Elemental, and he will use it to activate, attacking the Earth Elemental with Soul Crush again, and the Earth Elemental reacts by declaring a Hurl action. So, as we have seen previously, or let me just double check, it will be, not pushing the ruins. Let me just check if he's still outside of the 8 inches of the Earth Elemental. He barely is 8.5 inches. So, still outside of the 8 inches, the Earth Elemental will need a 10. The Pharaoh's The Academy Expeditioner, slowly, will need 14 or less. Natural 20, he will use his Sorcerer class because it's his active phase to reroll. With an 11 he manages to do so, and the Earth Elemental needing a 10 or less. It also managed, but the Academy Expeditioner rolls higher, therefore he wins the confrontation. Ignoring armor, he needs a 14 or less to wound the Earth Elemental. With a 9, he manages to successfully wound the Earth Elemental again. I will just ignore the panic state at the Earth Elemental, but the stun trait. Therefore, the Earth Elemental has to roll its toughness check of 16 or less. With a 2, it succeeded. So, now the Academy Expeditioner uses his second reaction to attack the Earth Elemental once more, which reacts by also hurling again against the Academy Expeditioner. The Expeditioner rolls a 7, hitting the Earth Elemental. A 19 definitely misses, therefore, once again, the Explorer wins the confrontation. 14 or less to wound the Earth Elemental. And with a roll of 12, he managed to put 2 wounds at the Earth Elemental. So, successfully wounding the Earth Elemental twice, the Task Mage Explorer has to think about what she wants to do. She could cast the Redirect Damage spell at the Ferrous Outrider to protect him, or she could cast Hasten Wounds in order to heal him. Hasten Wounds has a strike value of 2 because it is equal to the caster's stamina, and therefore she could potentially heal 2 wounds to resurrect the Ferrous Outrider from the incapacitated state. And in this case, it might be more sensible to cast Redirect Damage and risk it that the Ferrous Outrider will get incapacitated. So, already using up her wizard class this round, she needs a 14 or less to successfully cast the Redirect Damage spell at the Ferrous Outrider. With a natural 1, she definitely succeeds, and the Ferrous Outrider also gets the Redirect Damage spell. The Earth Elemental still couldn't react because it is unable to see the Task Mage behind the runes. But the Task Mage just activated. Therefore, only the Ferrous Outrider has 2 activations left, similar to the Earth Elemental. So, looking at the Earth Elemental's reactive row. Not engaged, and there's more than 1 enemy within its awareness. Still not the case, because its awareness is equal to its accuracy of 6. Target of melee attack outside of 1 inch or no line of sight. This will also not be true, because target of a melee attack within 1 inch and line of sight. This will happening because the Ferrous Outrider declares an attack action with his sword against the Earth Elemental, which will react with a melee attack of its own. And once again, the Ferrous Outrider will, this time he actually will move into base contact to avoid that the Earth Elemental will move closer to the Academy Expeditioner and maybe be able to even see the Task Mage Explorer. So, moving into base contact protected by the Redirect Damage spell, we get into the next confrontation. The Ferrous Outrider has 2 attacks, needing, let me just double check, needing a 14 or less because of his offense value to hit, a 13 and a 20. And now the Earth Elemental needs a 14 or less. With a 4, it managed to be successful, but since the 13 is higher than the 4, the Ferrous Outrider manages to score 1 hit. Since he casted Molten Touch at himself, he has the Ignore Armor property, therefore needing 13 or less, I think it is. Yes, he has a toughness of 13, so a 13 or less to wound the Earth Elemental. With a 19, he did not manage to do so. And now let me just double check the burn trait to see what, if it even activates when the target is not wounded. Doing this one-handed is not an easy task. I'll catch you up as soon as I looked it up. So I looked it up, and the burn will only activate when the target suffered a wound or damage. So therefore, the damage will not be rolled for the burn. And let's just continue by repeating the same procedure. A confrontation between the Earth Elemental and the Pharaoh's Outrider. The Pharaoh's Outrider in its active role has 2 attacks, 14 and 13, both barely hit. The Earth Elemental needs a 14 or less. With a 19 it did not succeed, therefore the Pharaoh's Outrider managed to score 2 hits. And once again, ignoring armor because of Molten Touch, he needs a 13 or less to wound. 16 and a 12. 1 roll wounds the Earth Elemental, giving it another wound. And now the burn quality activates. Burn 1 means 1 additional die roll with the toughness of the Pharaoh's Outrider of 13. And the Earth Elemental will have an armor of 0 for this, therefore 13 or less. And the Earth Elemental will lose its last wound. And an 11. Therefore, the Earth Elemental now has taken 4 points of damage, which reduces it to 0. Turning the card around, it has the Elemental trait, and similar to the Construct trait, if the model's HP reaches 0, it is removed from the field. This was actually quite quick. In my previous League games, I think I played it 3 times already. The Earth Elemental took far longer to be defeated. So, with no remaining hostiles and no activations, the 3rd turn of the party ends, and I will get back to you when the 4th turn of the party is set up. So, with the 4th turn set up, the party will start by activating the Task Mage Explorer, who will just be moving 5 inches closer towards the board center. And now, since the Pharaoh's Outrider still is within 16 inches, she will cast Hasten Recovery in an attempt to wool the Pharaoh's Outrider. So, needing 14 or less, 20 and a 12, the 12 is enough, and the Pharaoh's Outrider cures 1 damage back to his 2 wounds, or hit points. So, now the party will reform, and I will show you the result of the party's turn. As you can see, the party repositioned itself just in the center between the 4 buildings it has to investigate. I forget to mention what the Pharaoh's Outrider would have cast with his artificial class onto himself, but since the party will be entering its 5th turn directly without interference of any hostiles, it is of no relevance. Therefore, let me just set up for the next turn, and we will jump into it. With the party all set up, the Pharaoh's Outrider will cast the Arcane Shield spell onto himself to increase his armor and to ignore critical hits. And this is in his strategic phase. Afterwards, the upkeep phase, each model receives its 2 activation points, which is equal to each model's stamina in this case. And with that done, the Pharaoh's Outrider will spend his first activation to walk into the building, which will cause him to roll the die immediately to see what he will find in the first building. He rolls a 14, checking at the table. A gargoyle immediately engages the model that walked in. So, the gargoyle will spawn, immediately engaging the Pharaoh's Outrider. I will just place the gargoyle in cover. And since we are already in the activation phase and activation tokens or activation points are distributed in the previously upkeep phase, I think the intention is that the gargoyle will not receive any activation points. Once again, I would be interested in your thoughts about this ruling of mine, so write your thoughts down in the comments. I'm looking forward to it, how you think this should be ruled or is intended. Otherwise, if Free Company will see this, feel free to comment and share your intention of this rule of this quest. So, with the gargoyle, without any activation points, he is basically defenseless. And therefore, the Pharaoh's Outrider will just spend his 2nd activation to dodge the gargoyle. He does not need to roll. Why does he dodge it? It's simple. He dodges the gargoyle so that he can disengage and get 2.5 inches. Let me just place the ruler next to him. 1, 2, 2.5, closer to the Task Mage Explorer, just in case that the gargoyle will attack. And with this, the Academy Expeditioner starts his activation. He will move in such a way that he has a direct line of sight without any terrain interfering, so that he will not give the gargoyle the benefits of heavy cover, which would impose a -4 penalty to his attacks. And now, since he is in such a position that he can attack without any interference, just to make it a little bit more clear, and he still had movement left. So now he will cast at the defenseless gargoyle his Soul Crush spell. With a 6, he manages to successfully cast it, and now needing a 14 or less to eliminate the gargoyle in an instant, with a roll of 5, the gargoyle loses its only hit point and is immediately removed from the field again. And that's what I meant at the beginning of the game with the strategy. Eliminating the threats in the middle of the board, getting more activation as the opponent, and then just swarm the newly spawned creatures so that you can securely investigate the remaining buildings. With this laid out for you, I will just finish this turn and get back to you when we enter the 6th turn, I believe it is, of the party. Having decided to investigate the building to the southeast, in the strategic phase, the Ferrous Outrider will cast the Hasten enchantment on himself, which allows him to move 5 inches in his strategic phase, and moving here. And now I will just use the 2 rulers I have to see if he will be inside of the walls, and I would say he is inside of the wall. Therefore he immediately rolls in the strategic phase, but no. He will just stay outside. Why I decided that? Because if he would roll in the strategic phase and a creature would spawn, the creature would receive activation points in the upkeep phase. Therefore, in his strategic phase, he just moves closer to the building, so that he will now, after the upkeep phase and everyone gets his activation points, he will be able to spend his first activation point, moves into the building, and this way any potential creature that spawn will not receive any activation points, therefore will be once again helpless. But rolling at the table, he rolls a 5, and a 5 is a golem awaits your arrival inside. The monster you find reacts and attacks you. So let me just grab one of my golem token. And once again I will place the golem as far in cover as possible, and since this is the direction of the Ferrous Outrider's move action, the golem will attack in its reactive role using its Fists of Stone. So therefore 1 attack needing 13 or less, and with a roll of 19 the golem misses the Ferrous Outrider. So since the golem has no activation points, once again, the Ferrous Outrider will activate to use its strategy of just disengaging about 1 inch. So let's say 1.5, so that he's definitely outside of engage range and therefore not in base contact anymore. And now the Academy Expeditioner activates. He moves a little bit farther away and to the side, so that he has a clear line of sight. And now, once again, his favorite spell against constructs and elementals, he will cast Soul Crush. A roll of 10, he hits, and a roll of 15, he misses to wound, because he wouldn't have needed a 14 or less. So he just repeats the same procedure, Soul Crush. With a natural 1, he successfully cast it, and with a 19, he still fails to wound the golem. So, in a rare instance, And since the Task Mage Explorer feels safe, she will actually try to attack the golem. For this, she also moves a little bit with her first activation. And now she casts a Mana Burst, which has a strike of 1, 16 inches reach, power of intelligence, therefore 14, but she still needs to hit the golem with a 14 or less. 18, using her wizard class to reroll. A 2, no, she hits. As I said, power equal to intelligence is 14. This time we reduce the golem's armor of 8. 14 minus 8, 6 or less to wound the golem. And with a roll of 3, she actually managed to do so. Originally a support character, and now she's better than the main artillery piece and damage dealer of the Academy Expeditioner. So, let's see if she can repeat this. So, another Mana Burst at the golem, 14 or less. With a roll of 5, she manages to hit. And now, once again, 6 or less. As expected, with an 8, she failed to wound the golem, but quite successful. Now, going into turn 6 of the hostiles, let me just allocate activation points and I will catch with you up later. So, with activation tokens allocated, the golem will spend its first activation, and looking at its hostile card, active role, target priority closest enemy is the Pharaoh's Outrider, and he's within line of sight and 3 inches, therefore it will walk into base contact and afterwards will attack with its Fist of Stone. But before it does so, all 3 of the party can see the golem, therefore all 3 will spend an activation point to react, and the Pharaoh's Outrider will use his reaction to also attack the golem, so therefore they get into confrontation. But before that, the Task Mage Explorer will try to cast redirect damage, and the Academy Explorer, he will once again try to cast Soul Crush at the golem. With a 15, he fails. So now the Task Mage Explorer will cast redirect damage at the Pharaoh's Outrider. With a 17, she also fails. Guys, that's not good what you're doing. So, now the confrontation. The Fist of Stone of the Earth Elemental have a strike equal to its stamina of 2, therefore 2 attacks. It has an offense of 10, so 10 or lower. It rolls a 4 into 10. And now the Pharaoh's Outrider has to roll against his defense of 11. With a 6, he manages to cancel the 4, but still the 10 is enough, therefore it will hit once against the Pharaoh's Outrider. Actually, just let me look up once again the confrontation rule. And I'm back. I just wanted to double check if I had remembered it correctly, and it will be just 1 hit that the Pharaoh's Outrider will have against the golem. Therefore, he has a toughness of 13, and the golem has an armor of 8. And since this time he casted Hasten on it to himself, he needs a 5 or less to wound the golem. And with a roll of 2, he managed to do so, surprisingly. So, the golem gets a second wound. It has 3 hit points, therefore only 1 hit point left. And this time, the golem again attacks the Pharaoh's Outrider, who will react with another confrontation. And this time the Task Mage Explorer will once again try to cast redirect damage, and the Academy Explorer, let me just check. Yeah, as you can see, he can hit the golem without hitting the Pharaoh's Outrider. He will react with a telekinetic blast again. So, starting with the Academy Explorer. For the telekinetic blast, he rolled 20 and is unable to cast it. Now the Task Mage Explorer with her redirect damage spell onto the Pharaoh's Outrider. A 12 is enough. Therefore, the Pharaoh's Outrider will be protected from any damage. Now, the confrontation. The golem with 2 attacks. A 3 and a 15, therefore a 3 is a hit. The Pharaoh's Outrider with his defense of 11 With a 4, he scores higher than the 3 of the golem, once again winning the confrontation. And now he again needs a 5 or less to wound the golem. And with a 10, he did not. So, let me just allocate activation points and I will catch with you guys later. With activation points allocated, the Pharaoh's Outrider casted Molten Touch onto himself to get the Ignore Armor special rule again. And we will start with the Taskmage Explorer, who will spend an activation token and just to secure the Pharaoh's Outrider, try to cast Redirect Damage. With a 5, it is successful. Therefore, the Pharaoh's Outrider gets the protection, and now he will activate to attack the golem, who, looking at its reactive roll, target of an attack, line of sight within 0 inches, will use a melee attack with its Fists of Stone. So, spending an activation point and going on to the confrontation. The Pharaoh's Outrider needs a 14 or less. A 5 and a 6. Yeah, it's a 6 and a 5, just double checking. The golem has a defense of 13. With a 14 he fails. Therefore, the Molten Touch of the Pharaoh's Outrider successfully hits 2 times. So, 13 or less is enough to destroy the golem. A 16 and an 8. So, just enough to destroy the golem. 3rd wound, and since the golem's a construct, he will also be destroyed again. And let me just move the party and we will meet up in the party's 8th turn. With activation points allocated and the Pharaoh's Outrider deciding to cast again Molten Blade onto himself, will this be the final round of the party? So, there are only 2 buildings left to investigate, and maybe this one will be the one where the hidden passage to the underground is. So, Pharaoh's Outrider moves in the building. With a roll of 10 or less, he uncovers the hidden passage. It's an 18. 18 means a gargoyle appears ready to attack. The monster you find immediately reacts and attacks you. So, this time we have a gargoyle. And this might have been actually a bad idea to use his Molten Blade. Since the gargoyle attacks, it will use its gargoyle strikes, which will be 1 attack roll. With a 10, it will be lower than the 12 of its offense value. And now it has a toughness of 12, which is equal to which will result in its power of 12, where the armor of 1 from the Pharaoh's Outrider will be just reduced. And with an 18 he is more lucky than in his right mind. He just lucks out and is not wounded by the gargoyle. Because this is a lucky instant because, as we can see, the gargoyle claws have an effect. When the model deals a wound, the wounded model loses an activation point and this model gains an activation point. Therefore, the gargoyle would have been able to react to any other shenanigans the rest of the party would have been up to. But since the gargoyle has no reaction, or activation points to react, the Pharaoh's Outrider will just dodge out of the engage. And now, with a clear line of sight, or just moving a little bit to get a clear line of sight, the Academy Expeditioner tries to demolish the gargoyle with Soul Crush. With a 3, he cast it successfully. With a 19, he did not wound the gargoyle, so therefore, spending his 2nd activation point, he repeats the process. 18, since his active roll, he can reroll 1 failed casting attempt of a sorcerer spell. This time an 11 is enough to cast Soul Crush, and will he roll a 14 or less? With a 10, he did, therefore the gargoyle gets a wound, is immediately destroyed. And now, no other opponent or hostile can spawn. Therefore, it is free for the party to explore the next building. And with 2 possibilities to run in the next round, at the latest in turn 10, the party will undiscover the hidden passage to the undergrounds. So, I will stop my Let's Play here. Tell me in the comments what you thought of this style of recording, since this is my first time recording a Let's Play. I hope you enjoy, and I'm looking forward to present you a few more Let's Plays about Eldfall Chronicles. See you later!